What's going on, guys? Jordan here, back with another video for the Jordan Stolz YouTube channel, Stolz Jordan on Facebook. Today I'm back to work on the farm. Wheat harvest is done, and barley and canola. And I had a baby, but I'm back to work today, getting in more of a full day. Got my lifeblood here because of the baby. Caffeinating a little bit here in the afternoon. And about to start the second half of the work day. So this morning my dad went to town, picked up some oil and stuff like that. I did some things around the house with the baby. Worked on some fall things. We got some beautiful fall weather here. One of those being picking some apples. We have these beautiful apple trees down here by the creek, and they're definitely getting ripe. Some are falling down, rip. And I picked this tree pretty clean. That was the big bucket of apples that you just saw. There's some up there, a lot of them have holes in them. Some of them are just kind of high for me on the ladder. And then we got these, which are a little bit smaller. See if I can show you. This is like the size, oh shoot. This is like the size of one of them from this tree closer to the creek. And this is the size of one over here. These ones are actually a lot sweeter. And I got a whole bucket of the big apples and only a half bucket of the little ones. I got all those at the top of the tree, if you can see those. All those very, very ripe apples. And I do want to get those down, because why waste some great fruit? That's kind of on my personal list for today, now that fall is kind of here, before they all start falling on the ground and Burton gobbles them up. Want to get those apples picked and do something with them. We're planning on doing two different things with the apples, keeping it pretty basic this year. We have a lot of applesauce already, so with these apples that I already picked, these are the big ones. And that's pretty much all the really good ones off the tree. The rest have some holes in them. I'm gonna get up there higher and pick some more. With these though, we're planning on apple butter, which should be pretty delicious on some homemade bread and pancakes and things like that. These little guys, I filled up half a bucket, but like you saw, they're pretty high. And these little guys, probably just make apple juice, because I really don't want to core and peel and slice all of those little apples. But those apples are pretty high up in the tree, so my ladder didn't really cut it. I'm gonna see if at the beginning of kind of this farm work day, we can kind of work on those trees a little bit, get the skid steer in there, lift me up on the loader, pull in, and I can pick off of the loader and just put them right in buckets so I don't have to come down the ladder over and over again. So iced coffee's kicking in. Let's head over to the farm and see what we're gonna do today. I kind of know what's going on today. I can talk about that once we get there. Let's get started with another video, folks. Enjoy. So we are gonna get those apples off the tree real quick. Gotta switch the skid steer forks to the skid steer loader. I told you guys I knew what we were gonna do today because we kind of started it a little bit. It's time to switch the concaves again. This was only maybe 10, 12 videos ago, max, but you can see we got in the fine grain concaves. This is for the wheat, canola, and barley. Closer spacing right here. And then in the bucket, we've got the bigger grain concaves, which are the ones we took out in that previous video. These are for the sunflowers and soybeans, just bigger spacing in them. With the small ones, you kind of have to level them. So this took a long time for us to level these out, and so nothing hit with that cylinder inside. These big ones we should just be able to swap out. So I already took off the top bolts right here. You can see I have them in the pan. I took them off right along that line on the top. I took all those off. We just have to kind of raise the thing up so I can get the bottom ones out. We should just be able to pull them right out and slide the other ones in. Might not be too difficult. Might take all afternoon, who knows. But we're starting with the apples. Just apple picking. Fall is here, it's my favorite season, and this feels very festive. All right, so we have the bucket of big apples in the truck still. Probably only took 20-30 minutes. Cleaned it relatively clean. There's still some really good looking apples in there, but I ran out of space with what I had, so got 2 more buckets of apples. It's a different kind of harvest today. Back to the farm work though. I'm gonna drop these apples in the house and we're gonna get working on those concaves for the combine. So the concaves are in, kind of a big job, but I feel like I just made this video. We're preparing for harvest not that long ago for the barley, for the canola, the wheat. Now we're preparing for the soybeans and the sunflowers, and we got the concaves back in that we took out back a few videos ago. And we're about to put this thing on the header, which just keeps the soybeans off of the sickle. So we're doing that, just kind of getting ready for the soybeans. I showed you a little glimpse in the last video of the soybeans, but they are getting closer to ready. Not quite ready yet, but in the next week or two, we'll probably be testing them out and trying things out. We're just prepping right now, getting ready for it. So harvested some apples today, got those concaves on, and about to tackle this project with the header. Well, it's just about on, just have to fasten it up a little bit, but I'll show you guys what this exactly is doing. I told you it kind of blows the soybeans, so pretty basic. We just got a fan right here. This is gonna blow air through this tube. You can follow it along through there and then through these little fingers, and that just blasts the soybeans in, gives them a little bit of a boost. If they get hung up on those blades right there on that sickle, and instead of them falling down and losing crop, it'll be blown in. Sometimes we all need a little boost, kind of like my iced coffee this afternoon. And this helps boost the soybeans to save some if needed. What's up, everybody? It's the next day. And I was gonna film some work today since we did a little bit yesterday, but kind of the nature of the work is a little bit servicey in nature and not necessarily stuff I wanna film. Doing stuff like greasing stuff, filling tires, and then just doing some stuff in my yard as well. So I decided to come down here to end the video the next day and show you guys the crops. So this is kind of a video about what's next for Stolz Farm Incorporated this year, right? Wheat harvest is done, canola's done, barley's done, and next comes soybeans and then sunflowers. So we're over here in the soybeans to look at these first. I showed you guys these in passing in the last video, but I'm actually out here in the field now to show you guys. So here we go. We have some dried soybeans which is what we want, right? We want these to get even more brown, but they are just about ready. So that frost that we had the other day, probably a week or so ago, and then it's continuing to get colder, that actually speeds up the process quite a bit. So we're ready to probably go on these next week, possibly, maybe a little bit later in the week, start trying them out. But yeah, they're looking pretty good, and they should be just about ready for harvest. Saw little air finger blower thingies that we put on the combine header. That's essentially to just blow the soybeans into the combine. We actually have to do a little bit of work on that, so it's being taken to town right now to get some metal work done on it. Didn't quite get it in as far as we wanted it to be. That'll be on though once it's all figured out, and we'll probably use one combine for the soybeans to start out with. Then we got the sunflowers, and the sunflowers are going to need a little bit of spray, which is probably going to be done via crop dusting to further these along and get them kind of even. So we had an agronomist come out, and the agronomist basically said that there are some that are going to not be ready when the other ones are ready, not ready in time. So we need to spray them. And I mean, here's what we're working with, a lot more dead than the last time you saw them. And you really want all of these leaves essentially gone and wilted, so they're not going through the combine. You just cut right down the stalks, knock out the heads. But let's take a look, because last time you saw them, they were still like right post being a flower. You can see in there, we got some seeds, and these all look pretty good and drying out nicely. Sunflowers will be a little bit more time than the soybeans, but the soybeans should combine up nice and fast. We'll be ground level on them because we rolled them, so won't be scooping up rocks or having to worry about that. Should be a pretty fast process. So that's it for another video, everybody. I thought I'd give you guys a little update on the crops, what's going on this year, and what's coming up next. So that's probably something like the title of this video. It's all about preparing for the next little round of harvest. Like I said earlier, I feel like I just made this video because we're doing these same preparations for wheat and barley and canola, but we have to do it again for these bigger crops. Combining will be coming up soon in a future video, most likely sometime next week or the week after that. The videos will be coming out, but that's it for this one. Thank you for joining me for another video. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like Stolz Jordan on Facebook, and give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.